Hey guys, Carl the Crux here, coming at you with another Deadside video, and before we get started with today's topic, I wanted to make a little announcement that I was really happy to see that there were a couple of players in my server that I run, Cruxtastic PVE. I wasn't able to talk to the second player that I ran into, but I did manage to talk to the first one, gave him some beginning gear as a welcome gift, I gave him like a P90, the heavy assault vest, and the heavy assault helmet, some ammo, and a nice stalker backpack. So if you do come to my server and you do run into me and I see that you're a new player to the server, I am more than happy to give everybody a nice little welcoming gift, something to start them off on the server with. And just remember that we are PvE focused, with PvP allowed in the military bases and in active mission zones, but only when they are active. But now on to the topic of today's video, which is suggestions. There are many things that Deadside needs to keep the game alive and to keep going, and I have some personal suggestions of things that I would like to see come to the game, and they're in no particular order, so let's go down the list. Trader fetch quests. I personally think it would add some variety of things to do into the game if the traders offered quests for you to go get them particular items and for you to get a nice little payout. So like the food and tools guy could ask you to find him certain amounts of food and drink, or for you to find him particular tools to bring back to him and he would pay you for. The weapons guy would be a similar deal, but with like weapons, ammo, and attachments. Like I said, it would give more variety of things to do besides just the kill missions, and I think it would be very simple to implement. And yeah, so on to the next thing. Backpacks carrying guns. Right now, only the Stalker backpack can carry weapons, and it can carry 2. My suggestion, keep the Stalker backpack the way that it is. And then, the Typhoon backpack can carry 1 weapon of any type, except for the full-length rifles, because like the full-length Mosin and the S85 are the 2 guns that I know of that cannot go in the Stalker. So have the Typhoon carry 1 of any type except for those 2 rifles, and then have the Assault backpack allow you to carry at least 1 submachine gun or a sawn-off shotgun. I just think that that would give those backpacks a little bit more added value, but it wouldn't go overboard. Next is an armored tactical vest. This is something that could easily be balanced, but I think it would be nice that if we had at least 1 or 2 vests that had some amount of armor. Doesn't have to be a lot, but also gives you a little bit of storage capacity too, because right now you only get one or the other. You either take armor or you take storage capacity, and I think it would be nice if there was a little middle ground where it's a nice little combo, but it's not as good as having one of either. Scavs with notes to hidden stashes. Currently there are random hidden stashes that you can find around the map. I think it would be cool and give it a little bit more of a lived in world feel if you could find notes on scavs that you take down every once in a while, and it's like, oh, I know of this secret military stash that's in this town or that area, and then after you open the note it'll spawn in that stash for you to try to find. And unlike the regular stashes, these would actually have good, really good military loot. Not a lot, but a little bit. Next suggestion would be to move the knife to the belt slots, which are the same slots that your lighter, your flashlight, and your walkie-talkie go into. Personally, I do not like the fact that the knife takes up the slot that your pistol goes into. I think it's just a pain in the ass having to trade out the knife for the pistol, especially if, like, you know, you run into a town, there's some scavs right on your ass, and you're trying to just grab a fucking gun to shoot back before they clusterfuck you. And I think just having the knife on there would make sense. I mean, pretty much every other game, the knife doesn't take up the pistol slot, so that's just my suggestion for that. Next would be furniture and lighting for bases. Right now, bases are bare bones. You can't really do much with them. All you do is you build a base and you put your storage into it. I think it would be nice if there was different types of furniture that you could craft for personalization. A bed for setting a spawn point at your base. Some people might not like that idea, but I think that's kind of a staple with a lot of survival games. You make your bed, your spawn point is set. So there you go. And also lighting, because when nighttime hits, nighttime fucking hits. And personally, it's ridiculous where you can't even see anything hardly in your own base unless you turn off certain settings that'll brighten it up a little bit depending on your screen. But I personally think that they just need to give us some more options of things that we could do to personalize our bases and stuff like that, including lighting. The next thing I would like to see added is makeshift armor or upgrades, where say if you have rags, rope, and some sheet metal, you could craft like a really crappy makeshift vest that might give you like the ability to withstand a couple extra shots from pistols, or, you know, not be completely one-tapped by a shotgun. Just something simple. It doesn't have to give you a lot of protection, but it give you, you know, just a little bit. And same for like workers' helmets or the bike helmets. Like if you got like one of those really crappy helmets and you got some sheet metal and a hammer, your character could bang like a layer of sheet metal over top of the helmet to do the same thing, to give you like a chance of withstanding an extra shot from a pistol or a shotgun. I think that would be fun. I also think that that would give a little bit more variety of things to do with the sheet metal, because right now I think the only thing you can really do with sheet metal is build the watchtower and make them storage containers. Next would be more fleshed out and varied locations with different types of loot. Now, I do know that they have said that they want to revamp the locations on the map, especially along with, you know, making the map bigger, because that is planned. They have said that they do want to make the big buildings in like the city that we know of, to eventually you be able to go in there and loot stuff. However, I would like to see places like factories, hospitals, police stations. So like factories would be similar to construction sites where you'd find your tools and stuff like that. Maybe you'd be more likely to find the really pricey power tools in the factory, unlike the construction site. So that would give you a reason to try to seek out the factories over construction. Hospitals to find food, drink, and actual medical bandages, along with like rubbing alcohol. And police stations for you to find mid-tier loot. So like, you know, the pump action shotgun, or the more simple SMGs like the MP5 or the UMP45, and like basic body armor and helmet. I think that that would be, you know, perfectly fine as a way of finding mid-tier loot, because right now there's really only fighting against civilian scavs, or like civilian locations and military locations, but there's not really anything in the middle. So I really think that that would be a great addition. Next is player bartering. I think that there needs to be a player bartering menu, because there are times where players will barter in the safe zones, and really the only way you can do that is set it up in chat, drop your shit on the ground, and trade with each other. But the problem is doing it that way, one player can screw the other player over, or you could have some asshole who's right nearby, waits for the players to drop their shit on the ground, and then yoinks it. So personally, I think having a player bartering menu would be a great thing for the game, especially in terms of roleplay, because then you could have players like set up like little shop stands or stuff like that. That would be really interesting and fun to see. And my last suggestion is to fix Ironsights, and there's two things in this that I want to talk about. Some of the sights on the guns are way too fucking narrow. The S85 and the AKS are really fucking big offenders in this regard. The sights are really narrow, and you can barely see anything through them at all. I would personally wish like that could be fixed, to have like wider iron sights that are more easy to see through. And then secondly, whenever you put a red dot optic or any type of optic, just remove the iron sights from the weapon model, because with some of the guns, the iron sights still obstruct the the red dot or whatever sight that they might implement in later, it gets obstructive. Like I know on the M4, I forget what it's called in the game, like the AR4 or something, but the M4 is an offender of this. The UMP45 is a bit of an offender for this if you have the low sitting one. So personally, I think if you add an optic to the guns, just remove the Ironsights from the weapon model, and that way you don't have the obstruction problem. But that has been my suggestions for things that I would like to see come to Deadside. If you have your own suggestions or even have any criticisms of the things that I suggested, please put them down in the comment section below. If you guys want to join my server, remember it's Cruxtastic PVE. We are more than welcoming of any players who want to come into our server and just chill and have a good time. Anyway, this has been Grell the Crux, and you guys have a fantastic day.